to do something different. So it's me. I'm back to streaming, and yeah, and pardon the black part. I have it on my tarot cloth. So I thought I would do a tarot reading on the energy forecast of Uranus retrograde. So I'm waiting for my followers to get in. But before that, yeah, I am shuffling. I am using one of my brand new tarot decks. This will be the Egyptian Tarot. The other tarot deck I will not reveal until October. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. Um, so let me shuffle. Hey, what's up? So yes, I am shuffling right now. Okay, so what? Okay, what's the energy for divine feminine in divine masculine and Uranus retrograde? So I'm going to be using the Egyptian tarot for the divine feminine. So let me actually lay this out. Let me see. I will reveal it very shortly. Okay, so this is going to be a 10 card spread. I recently got back into the habit of doing reversals. I stayed away from it for a while, but I'm back to reading reversals. I felt guided to. So let me look at Divine Feminine. So Divine Feminine, this is the energy for you. The first card I'm getting is the Devil. So with the Devil, I feel as though Uranus retrograde may be really heavy for the Divine Feminine right now. And hang on just a minute. The energy is very heavy for Divine Feminine right now. And this is because there is a lot of pain in the trauma body that is coming up for the Divine Feminine to dismantle. So the Divine Feminine may be feeling so done with the journey right now. And this is because she's approaching the end of a cycle. She's not actually done with the journey. She is done with the cycles that she's been engaging in. And I feel as though that's why her soul is tired. Her soul is reaching the end of a cycle. And one thing that the Divine Feminine has been working especially hard on is the fear of not being enough and also the fear of failure. So this is coming up really strongly for the Divine Feminine, and she is showing she's being showing a lot of self-sabotaging habits she didn't even know she had. So let's jump to the next card. That would be Six of Swords. So the Divine Feminine is no longer holding on to her old reality. So she's done with trying to, like, again, hold on to things out of comfort and fear. What she's really do is letting go. She's letting go of the connection with the divine masculine during Uranus retrograde. And I think the reason is not because she's giving up, but because she is surrendering and trusting her inner knowing that things will unfold exactly as they meant to. And the grip on control is loosening considerably. So the divine feminine is moving into a state of flow state and clearing the blocks around being. And as she heals her inner child trauma, she comes out of the masculine woman template and into the divine feminine template. So she's becoming more anchored into her divine femininity. So what I am seeing with the next card, hang on just a second. This is Temperance. With Temperance, I feel as though the divine feminine is gonna feel rather weepy. And I feel as though that's because she is feeling the divine masculine. So Uranus retrograde is going to have the divine feminine and the divine masculine mirror rather heavily. And because of that, she needs to let go of, I guess, she needs to let go of that wounded separation. A lot of limiting beliefs about her twin flame are going to be coming up. And as the divine feminine purges these out of her system, she overcomes that illusion of separation in a way she hasn't before. So separation consciousness is being purged out of her field. and she's really trusting that her and her twin flame are one. And this is the first reversal. God dang. This is still a brand new deck to me. So the Magician and Reverse. So with the Magician and Reverse, I am seeing that the Divine Feminine is also transmuting the remnants of the victim mentality. The victim mentality is very making itself known. This can be seen as the Divine Feminine thinking that she's alone on a journey, that the Divine Masculine is not showing up, and a lot of you might be struggling with your ego lately. And this is because the divine wants you to really let go of those fears and insecurities that keep you in the timeline of separation. There is an eternal shift going on for divine feminine during Uranus retrograde. Prepare to get uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable, actually, because much of what you have taken as gospel truth is going to be exposed. It's going to be transmuted, and you are going to jump timelines. So I feel as though the divine is like saying that this is pretty much a done deal. So if you try to resist, if you try to hold on, the divine is going to make that choice for you. And trust me, it's better to surrender than to very much like be stubborn. And the divine is like saying for you to really trust in the process, divine feminine. And what I'm seeing with the four chalices is that the middle of Uranus retrograde will be heavy too. I know a lot of you guys are like, no, yes, it is going to be heavy. I would say this is because you're clearing a lot of past life trauma. A lot of you are going to be clearing a lot of past life trauma around being good, around being nice. And this is because, in some ways, you're still people pleasing the divine feminine. It will be revealed to you as to how, but you need to the divine saying let go. I swear, they say it so much in this reading, I freaking hate it. You are letting go of what you know. You are letting go of who they taught you to be, divine feminine. And the more you let go of what society, hey, what's up? What society says you are, the more you get in alignment with your authentic self. And there's going to be a lot of healing around the dark feminine in the middle of Uranus retrograde. And I feel as though this is really happening so that you can let go of that need to be nice, that need to be socially acceptable, pleasing. The divine's like saying, tap into your dark feminine. Some part of you is rejecting yourself, divine feminine, and I feel as though it's going to become clear as to how. So the divine is like saying for you to really get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you're going to be doing a lot of shadow work during Uranus retrograde. And trust me, you're going to be purging like crazy. Don't be surprised if you are bipolar during the middle of Uranus retrograde, divine feminine, because you are going to be going through the emotional oscillation of that's keeping you still holding on to ego consciousness. So this card, okay, with the Knave of Wands and reverse, I would say that you are letting go of, again, all that anger, all that shame, all that guilt. That guilt you have about being too much. That guilt, the shame you have around being too authentic, not fitting in anywhere, not belonging, but being bullied for being you. And again, expect the bullying to come up for you, divine feminine. If you have been bullied, that's going to be transmuted by you. And I feel as though you're going to see where you have been still, like, again, not been loyal to yourself. And again, everything is going to be like very intense. And as you transmute these limited beliefs, you are going to be jumping timelines. Some of you want to be jumping timelines more than once, actually. And this is because you are going to be going through such a massive eternal shift that by the end of Uranus retrograde, you will not be the same. And Uranus retrograde is perhaps the most grueling out of all of the retrogrades of 2025, because again, it's in Taurus, and Taurus is all about its comfort zone. Taurus is all about clinging on to the known. And a lot of you are going to be experiencing shatter in your foundation. Man, I'm sorry about this. Three of Wands in reverse. So with Three of Wands in reverse, I am seeing that the end of Uranus retrograde will be the calm before the storm. And I feel as though this is where you're going to feel that breath of fresh air, Divine Feminine. You're going to feel that need to, I guess, relax in a moment. A lot of you are going to end up clearing a lot of self-limiting beliefs and false narratives that keep you stuck in ego consciousness. So many of you are ascending from 5D to 60 and potentially 70 for some, but I do see a massive shift in the collective of Divine Feminine that is channeling. As they choose themselves, as they choose love, these Divine Feminines are letting go of their attachment to the Matrix. I do see there will be a lot of endings in the end of Uranus retrograde. Many of you may leave a situation no longer serving you. It could be in regards to money. It could even be a marriage or a relationship that you're in, but something has to go. And I feel as though if you don't decide to do it, the divine's going to do it for you. So, again, it's better just to go with the flow. So, with the Hanged Man, I am seeing that, again, there's going to be a renewal of sort. What I mean by that is that you are going to be letting go of the subconscious belief that union isn't safe. The end of Uranus retrograde is going to illustrate where you're still not trusting your union. And a lot of you are going to be like, well, I trust my union. It will become abundantly clear as to why that is. Because as you arrive to a higher state of consciousness, you're going to see things that you weren't initially couldn't see before. And this is because you have gone deeper into yourself. You can't expect to see everything when you're not in the state of consciousness to see things. And I feel as though a lot of you are going to feel very unhealed during this time. You're going to feel as though maybe you did not do as much work as you thought you did. I want to tell you, Divine Feminine, do not think that way. You have done the work. What you're doing is going deeper. You did heal, but now you're healing even deeper. You are going into wounding you didn't even know you had. How can you shame yourself and guilt tripping yourself for not knowing different? You can't. Like, you are doing the best you can at any stage of your journey. Please do remember that. So, with the Ten of Wands, yes, again, endings are happening at the end of Uranus retrograde. And I guess as the Divine Feminine chooses self and therefore her connection, this is causing her to very much quantum leap to the timeline she wants to be on. So I do see Uranus retrograde is going to bring in a lot of movement from the Divine Masculines, but I feel as though some of you may hear from your Divine Masculine at the end of Uranus retrograde. That's in early 26. So, but some of you might even hear midway. But anyway, with the Ace of Pentacles, Divine Feminine is going to see her old foundation, the discrepancies, the self-limiting beliefs. She's going to tear it all down. And Divine Feminine is really focused on her internal stability right now. She recognizes that in some way she's still inconsistent. But the end of Uranus retrograde is going to demolish the current version that you already are. You're going to be swept, the old version is going to be swept away, and you're going to end up experiencing a rebirth as your true and authentic self. So yeah, that's what I'm getting for Divine Feminine. So let me choose for the Divine Masculine. Hang on just a second. Let me get a deck from my room. The other side of my room, that is. So I'm going to be using a deck I used today. That would be my Astral Tarot. This one is luckily I'm a little bit more acquainted with. So, can I have a spread on what's going on with the Divine Masculine and Uranus retrograde? How much spread on what's happening for the Divine Masculine and Uranus retrograde? Thank you. Yes, I have another deck that I bought, but I'm not going to use it until October. You'll see, guys, see why. Yeah. So, Astral Tarot. I do have a Christmas Oracle deck, but that's in storage right now. Okay, so, okay, like I said, I am now back to reading reversals. reversals is not a negative thing, but I just had a thing with symmetry. I thought that it just looked better, like, and then I'm like saying, nah, I'm kind of like condensing what's meant to be said. But even if it was initially upright, or I can read it initially reversed, I can read it upright too. But just like the death card and the tarot card are seen as ill omens, they are perhaps the most significant cards for growth. So we've been taught to fear these cards, but these cards are liberators. So yeah, let's go on for Divine Masculine. So the first card I get for Divine Masculine is the Page of Cups in reverse. So what I see for Divine Masculine for Uranus retrograde, oh, many of you are feeling your Divine Masculines right now. How many of you are feeling very emotional and like nostalgic over your Divine Masculine? If so, this is because you are feeling them. A lot of Divine Masculines are in their feelings for the Divine Feminine, and this is because they're having a lot of breakthroughs about the connection with you. A lot of Divine Masculines are owning up to the fact that they've been inconsistent, that they had been in and out. Like, yes, they want to commit to this connection, but either fears or insecurities about not being enough for you always sabotage. They'll always let the self-sabotage. But Divine Masculine is tired of being in this cycle for you, Divine Feminine. He doesn't want to be in this cycle with you. In fact, he's at an impasse, like, on how to, like, find this breakthrough. But the good news is that everything that is false is being taken away. So a lot of Divine Masculines are going to be called to revisit the inner child. And I feel as though there's going to be much reluctance. Not because they don't want to do it, but because I feel as though they feel like they will break in a way, that pain is perhaps too much. But the Divine is like saying that this is a limitation that they're placing on themselves. And a lot of the Divine Masculines are going to move out of this energy and very much transmute this. So what I'm seeing with the Seven of Pentacles is that a lot of Divine Masculines are really focused on internal consistency. Like things like keeping promises, by remaining committed to like meetings or such, small little things that require integrity. A lot of the Divine Masculines are again owning up to where they've been inconsistent and really focused on developing that internal consistency. And I feel as though this includes holding himself accountable. Some Divine Masculines were relaxed when it came to this, but I feel as though they're upping their accountability game. A lot of Divine Masculines are healing their gaslighting and stonewalling trauma. And the more they do that, the more they end up moving out of that wounded masculine energy. So a lot of Divine Masculines are really frustrated at the moment. Not a Divine Feminine, but at themselves. So some of you might be feeling really frustrated with your Divine Masculine, but he's frustrated at himself. And the reason why he's frustrated at himself, Divine Feminine, is because he felt like he should have known this sooner. That he should have seen this sooner. And he is having a hard time forgiving himself. But like I said, if there are any Divine Masculines watching this, remember that you were only doing the best you could at the consciousness you're at. You can't fault yourself for not knowing different. And I feel as though a lot of Divine Masculines are being called to really heal that inner critic. Yeah, what I'm saying with the Seven of Cups is that the Divine Masculine is going to be healing his mental confusion toward the Divine Feminine. And that means on how to approach her. A lot of Divine Masculines do want to bring forth communication. They have every intention to break the silence. But many are overthinking at the beginning of Uranus retrograde. And the reason why this is because they have no idea how you react. And they're not sure if you're even receptive. And I feel as though, like, the Divine Feminine in this is actually receptive, but this is the Divine Masculine needing to work those fears and insecurities. He is kind of, like, using this as a form of self-protection. And I feel as though the Divine is, like, going to make the Divine Masculine actually snap out of his ego. He is going to snap out of his ego, ladies. Gentlemen. He will. And when he snaps out of his ego, bam, 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 doorway after doorway is going to be open. And that confusion will be no more. So let me actually look at the middle of Uranus retrograde. A lot of the divine masculines are going to be healing their relationship trauma in the middle of Uranus retrograde. This means healing inner child, inner teenager, and even um, early adult. But a lot of divine masculines are being called to really release the pain and anger they have toward not being seen and heard, about not being poured into the way they deserve. Again, a lot of the divine masculines are going to see where they have been settling for less, and not only love, but also in all areas of their life. And a lot of divine masculines are going to really heal that trauma response of keeping people happy. And the more they do that, the more they unlearn who they were taught to be. And as they unlearn this, a lot of divine masculines are going to be moving away from the people pleasing. They're going to be a lot less focused on not making waves and more focused in their throat. And a lot of throat chakra activations are going to happen for a divine masculine in the middle of Uranus retrograde. And this is going to cause a lot of divine masculines to be very vocal. A lot of divine masculines are no longer going to maintain porous boundaries. Their boundaries are going to be more frigid. A lot of divine masculines are going to be putting their foot down and saying no and choosing themselves. This is already happened, but Uranus retrograde is probably the most important time for this. So, sorry guys, my nephew's crying. With the Queen of Wands and reverse, a lot of divine masculines are going to be healing that victim mentality. And of course, like consciously, divine masculines are empowered, but subconsciously, there is a victim consciousness that they're still in. So I feel as though this is not really theirs, it's their ancestral trauma. So there's going to be a huge amount of ancestral trauma that's going to be worked to by the divine masculine in the middle of Uranus retrograde. And as he reclaims his energy back from who he thinks he is into who he actually is, this is causing the divine masculine to no longer resonate with keeping things quiet, with burying his head under the sand. Hello, Rachel. And pretending like everything is fine and dandy. Divine masculine is going to see the toxicity and the dysfunction of the family. I mean, in such a way where he can't even dress it up anymore. And instead of feeling bad for actually seeing through the bullshit, divine masculine is going to be like, well, I see through it. I'm not going to hide from it. I'm going to choose myself. And I feel as though a lot of divine masculines are going to put their foot down. No longer will they actually allow themselves to be walked over. No longer will they go along with society just to be accepted and like it. Divine masculine is making a big stand for himself. And this is really helping him to elevate his self-love game. With justice, okay, what I'm seeing is that there's endings going on for divine masculine in the middle of Uranus retrograde. Some divine masculines, I'm not saying this is yours, ladies, so some of them are going to begin to exit out of their karmic situation. They're going to begin the process. Now, some of you might be tempted to actually look outward for that during that, but one thing you need to remember is that it starts internally. And absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. If you're feeling that, then it's most likely the divine speaking to you that it's actually happening. So you need to trust that. Don't get into your ego and try to look for external proof to support your hypothesis. As the divine feminine, you're supposed to trust your inner knowing and not the ego. So I feel as though a lot of divine masculines are going to be moving out of ego consciousness. They're no longer going to actually focus on, keeping everybody happy. They're no longer going to be focused on being the strong one. A lot of divine masculines are going to be pushed to really heal their dark masculine. And as they heal their dark masculine, this causes them to actually tap into the anger and the frustration and the sadness they've been carrying all their lives that they've repressed. A lot of divine masculines are going to unchain themselves from the bonds of the matrix. A lot of divine masculines are going to be taking their power back. And they're going to have clarity on how to lead this connection. So I do see, again, Uranus retrograde is going to bring a lot of movement from divine masculines. And like I said, some of you may hear from them. But even if you did not hear from your divine masculine, do remember there is still movement happening and your time will come. So again, there's forward movement happening. A lot of for every divine masculine. So again, Uranus liberates. Uranus doesn't let us stay in stagnation. So with the Chariot, a lot of divine masculines toward the end of Uranus retrograde are going to heal a lot of self-limiting beliefs about the divine. And this is instrumental because it's going to show them exactly how they could come back in. So again, I do feel as so many divine masculines are gonna reach out. Okay, but I don't. I feel that a lot of divine masculines are gonna really focus on killing their their anima and their animus. And as they balance their anima and their animus, this is going to actually bring to light about where they're still rejecting themselves, where they're still not being loyal to themselves. And I see the divine masculine moving through this and healing this at such a deep level. And when he does this, this is going to liberate him from the fear of not being accepted, the fear of not being liked. So sorry, guys. My nephew is crying. He's acting like a baby. With the Two of Cups, the divine masculine is going to be healing a lot of self-limiting beliefs. And as he heals these self-limiting beliefs, he's going to actually move out of caring about what society portrays him as. And the more he ends up, again, aligning with his heart, the more he ends up acting from the heart. A lot of divine masculines are going to move into a more heart-based existence toward the end of Uranus retrograde. And this is a really good thing because it means divine masculines are rising into their divinity even more. So I feel as though some of you are going to feel a lot of movement from them. Some of you are going to have dreams. And things to watch out for would be mice. I also see peacocks and radishes for some reason. You can take this as your confirmation that your divine masculine is making movement. So again, this is very much the divine orchestrating the miracle to happen. So we're already in Uranus retrograde. It started on the 6th. And it will continue until January, if I remember it correctly. January 2nd, if I'm precise. So, again, a lot of divine masculines are being called to really, trust in the process at the moment. And I feel also, again, toward the end of Uranus retrograde, that will still remain the same. So, what I'm seeing with the Six of Cups, again, I see coming home to himself. I see him choosing himself. I see him choosing love. I don't feel like he would choose fear. I don't feel like he's moving forward. He's breaking free of the binds that tie him to his karmic situation, that ties him to society, that ties him to servitude. And as the divine masculine gets angry on his behalf, he gets upset at himself for tolerating less than he deserves. Well, he chooses himself yet again. So, again, this divine masculine is really getting angry on his behalf. And he's really, again, reclaiming his personal freedom. So, with the Page of Pentacles, yes, I see a new beginning for divine masculine at the end of Uranus retrograde. And because of that, he is going to be focused on his eternal stability even more. So I feel as though as he works on not looking outside of himself for validation and approval, he recognizes the power of his own inner knowing and he trusts it more. So yeah, that's what I get. So yeah, does anybody have any questions or any comments? Yeah. No radish emoji. You're laughing at the radish? Yeah, you're welcome. You're laughing at the radish. So I will be posted this right after. I don't think it's gonna upload into the morning though. But yeah. There is movement happening. Yes. Yes, don't listen to your ego. Yes, the ego again. And another word of advice for you ladies, if you are struggling with the ego, remember that your ego is trying to protect you. It's trying to make assumptions. And even though it's looking out for you, of course, thank your ego for looking out for you, but again, continue to trust love. You will be fine. Again, if you think that your ego is going to inhibit you from your divine masculine making movement, then by all means, it's going to happen. But if you remember that this is you unlearning and that you are growing closer to your divine masculine, then that's exactly what happened. You're the creator of your own reality. You are. So if you say that, no, I'm going to delay movement, then exactly that's what's going to happen. So your mind is so powerful. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't see that I have any questions, so I will be ending the stream. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you another time. Namaste.